Hi, my name is Maylin Anna Frederick with matrix number 272466. Our speech analysis based on speech delivered by the founder and CEO of SkillsCamp, Bailey Parnell, with the title Is Social Media Hurting Your Mental Health? At first, the speaker uses two techniques in the introductions of her speech to attain the attentions and engagements of the audience. Firstly, the speaker starts her speech by arousing the audience's curiosity to captivate the audience into her speech by asking questions such as, this method not only makes the audience absorb into the speech, but also builds suspense to the speaker's topic. Secondly, the speaker uses a storytelling method to share and interpret her experiences while on a vacation with her sister that took 4 days. Tell story method is a method that relates the speaker's experiences with the topic. Second question is about credibility. Bailey Parnell has successfully established her credibility as a speaker, and she uses the right types of credibility that tell about her career during her speech. As stated by the Cambridge Dictionary, the definitions of credibility is the fact that anyone can be trusted or believed in. To show her credibility, the speaker relates the speech by telling her audience about her experiences. She states that she has been employed mainly for most of her career in social media marketing, and her life is socially, professionally, and academically linked to social media. By allowing her audience to know about her career as a social media expert, the audience pays more attention and interest because the audience believe and put trust in her with her credibility that she had. Move to the next questions. The speaker elaborates on the three main points that address the unintentional impact of social platforms on your mental stability. The first main point of the speech, the speaker introduced four of the most popular stressors that have the capacity to become a fully fledged mental illness and is by no means an extensive record. Firstly, highlight reel. The highlight reel is like collections of our greatest moment, and in this case, social media is where we show our highlight reel. Secondly, obsessing over the social currency. Usually the currency is what we use to assign value to a service or product, but social currency is currency we assign value to something with likes, comments, and share in social media. Thirdly, FOMO, or also known as the fear of missing out. FOMO is real social anxiety where the individual is anxious that other people are having a good time without you. Fourthly, online harassment may be the worst social media stressor. The four of the most popular stressors that the speaker mentions are what is stressing people out every day, the seeking for the attentions of what people want to see, and the main themes on our social media are related to the first main point. The next main point is what it is doing to you. In her second point, she states that social media eventually makes us addicted. We become more anxious and we are distracted. Like alcohol dependency, we already encountered this ability. Every time you get a like in a picture you posted in social media, you get a shot of this feel-good chemical, or in other words, dopamine. All of this will lead to growing levels of depression and anxiety. The last point of the speaker's speech is how to create a healthier online experience for yourself. In the last point, she gave 3 steps to find social media wellness. Firstly, recognize the problem by acknowledging the problem. You are aware of what and when it will happen. It's like preventing something bad from happening in the future. Secondly, audit your social media diet. In this step, the speaker tells the audience self-questions by asking, did that Facebook scroll make me feel better or worse off? How many times do I check likes? Why am I responding this way to that photo? Then ask yourself if you are happy with the results. Thirdly, creating a better online experience. This step is addressed to someone that might not be okay with their self-questions. It encourages the audience to unfollow all brands and celebrities that might have triggered you, like her own husband, and for herself, she purchased other individuals of her timeline. The streaming step points mentioned by the speaker are supported by pieces of evidence. The Art of Public Speaking 13th edition by Stephen E. Lucas indicates that the supporting materials are the materials used to support the concept of a speaker. Examples, figures, and evidence are the three types of supporting materials. The speaker supports her four more popular stressors in her first main point by clarifying and presenting the percentage from the Pew Internet Research and Online Harassment Data.org that based on her presentation slide. To support her second main point, she uses a brief example to strengthen her point by mentioning that types of organization used by the speaker is problem solution order in delivering her speech. The speaker identified the problem in her first main point, which stated that what is stressing you out every day, and she explained each of her sub-points with example and some pieces of evidence. Then in her second main point, she elaborated on the causes with what it is doing to you by giving an example of the impacts social media can do on you, such as the user cannot focus because of notifications from the handphone. Lastly, speaker's third main point is about the steps to craft a better experience for yourself online. At this point, she identifies a possible solution and promotes that solution to the audience by telling her own experiences. In terms of language, the speaker delivered her speech by using concrete words and uses the language vividly and clearly. The speaker uses the resources of the language vividly by using rhythm and imagery to make it more interesting and touches the audience's feelings. Concreteness and metaphor are two traditional instruments of imagery. Metaphor or a speech figure where a word or expression is applied to something in a non-literal manner to imply a similarity. The speaker uses metaphor by stating in her speech, if it were not for fear of being left out of the loop. The words out of the loop refer to her subpoint in the first main point, which explains about fear of missing out. The speaker uses parallelism in her speech. Parallelism is a similarity of grammatical forms that are identical. Parallelism helps make it simple and quick to recall an idea or argument. Repetition is another way to use rhythm. Repetition is a literary device and a piece of literature or speech that involves using the same word or expression repeatedly. Billy Parnell uses repetition in his speech by saying social media is a tool that can be used for good. The word tool is repeated in her speech to explain that social media is one of the internet devices. Connective. The speaker uses a few connectives to deliver his speech. Connectives are necessary to help the audience concentrate on key ideas without making them guess what the speaker thinks of ideas. The listener can listen to what the speaker has addressed and what the speaker is talking about. The speech can flow seamlessly and make complicated concepts comprehensible if a speaker uses links properly. Based on the speaker's speech, she is using internal preview, signposts, and transitions during her speech. The speaker's first connective that she uses in her speech, transition. Speech transitions are words or phrases that enable you to shift seamlessly between one point to another to smooth your speech and consolidate your presentation. Throughout the speech, it can be seen when the speaker tries to start her statement to her audience by telling the audience, just over a year ago, my sister and I took a 4-day vacation to Jasper, Alberta. She starts her speech by telling her audience her story about her experiences throughout her 4-day vacation with her sister. Besides, the speakers use internal preview to let the audience know what will be the next topic that she will be discussed. Internal preview normally occur after a transition has been completed by the speaker and after a new main topic. Before she opens to the new topic, she gives some ideas on a new topic. For example, she expresses in her speech, "We need preventative strategies and copying strategies," and so on. Internal preview guide the viewers to what subjects are next to be covered. The sentence gives the audience the idea on the next point. The speaker also uses signposts in her speech. Signposts are also numbers of words that indicate that it is important what the speaker is about to say. The speaker states her subpoint by numbering. For example, 4 of the most common phrases on social media. Number 1, the highlight reel, which is number 2, and so on. From this signpost, we can also see that the speaker brings out the exact point and where the audience is in the speech presentation. In our point of views, Bailey Parnell, as a speaker, delivered her speech effectively with the use of good connective to link all her thoughts in her speech. By using effective connective, it makes it easier for the audience to understand and smoother the flows of the speech. It is also allow the audience to imagine exactly what the speaker is trying to convey and explain her speech. That's all from me. I would like to pass it on to my partner.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Cassandra Lawrence and my metric number is 270745. Firstly, we are going to talk about the speaker's voice. As you can see, there are 4 aspects that can be found in this section. First off is the volume of the speaker's voice, which was not too loud, not too soft. She had spoken in the right amount of volume, as she had a microphone to help amplify her voice in a large hall. Next, in terms of pitching, we can also hear some inflections in some of her speech, where she uses it to convey emotion. Here is an example.
And you might be thinking I'm ridiculous, but I hadn't been completely disconnected in over 4 years.
The speaker's speed of delivery was also at a normal rate, where she successfully did not let the listeners become too bored with her speech. Apart from that, the speaker also uses pauses in her speech to give time to the audience to sink in her message. An example can be seen here where she used this pause to emphasize her statement. Speaker's body. We have observed that the speaker's body language can be evaluated from 3 perspectives. First off is the personal appearance of the speaker. Each and every speaker are anticipated by their audience to display a sensible wardrobe choices, and first impression is important. Bailey Parnell, which is the speaker in this talk, had dressed herself appropriately according to the occasion with a formal black dress. Appearance-wise, the dress was bland and therefore will not distract the audience from her speech. Furthermore, we can also see the speaker using hand gestures during her speech. The speaker also succeeded in making her gestures appear natural and spontaneous. In addition to that, the speaker also maintains eye contact with her audience. It is said that the fastest way to establish a communicative bond with the listeners is eye contact. She did not just focus on one part of the audience, but rather the whole audience. Moving on, we will be discussing about which type of reasoning the speaker relies on throughout her speech. We have noticed that the speaker relies the most on causal reasoning in her speech. The meaning of causal reasoning is the reasoning that identifies the relationship between causes and effects. From this, we can see that social media can give birth to online harassment. This can be seen when the speaker mentions that 40% of online adults have encountered online harassment. It shows that any one of us can be a victim of online harassment, and it can also lead to a fatalistic result. The cause is correlated with the effect where you see young teenagers take their own life after experiencing this awful situation. Tyler Clementi was one of those unfortunate teenagers, and he had taken his life at the age of 18 years old after becoming a victim of online harassment. From the above example, we can see the relationship between the cause and effect of the matters that arise. Here, the speaker uses 3 types of emotional appeals. One of them is empathy. Empathy is the main emotional appeal that the speaker uses a lot in her speech. This can be seen when the speaker mentions her social media disconnection experience. The speaker says that was only 4 days and it was an anxiety-inducing. It was stressful and it resulted in withdrawals. This statement immediately allows the audience to plunge into the emotion the speaker provides, which is empathy, and this leads them to an understanding that social media can have a major impact on our lives. Subsequently, the speaker also uses humor as one of her emotional appeals. The speaker was able to give the audience some much needed relief in an otherwise serious talk by putting in a little bit of humor into her speech. This can be seen when she states a tool that can be used for good, for positive groups, for revolutions, or even Grumpy Cat in Disney movies. The internet is a strange place. Last but not least, the emotional appeal that the speaker brings in her speech is thoughtfulness. The speaker states, we have to recognize these everyday instances as well, because if they go unchecked and the effects unnoticed, we are going to have many more Tyler Clementis. From this statement, we can see that the speaker truly cares about the well-being of our mental health. She wants to help others to recognize the cause of the issue before it escalates into a bigger problem in the future. It is essential to tell the audience before closing that you are about to close the speech. A speech should not just stop right away. The methods used by the speaker in her speech are crescendo and dissolving ending. First, the crescendo ending implies that a conclusion in which the speech builds to the zenith of strength and intensity. For example, as you can see, her title was in a question form, which was, is social media hurting your mental health? And she mentions it again at the end of her speech, which she answered, it does not have to, as to signal her listeners that her speech is about to end. She then pauses for a bit and make an inspiring remark to end her speech by saying that we can control what we do with social media and use it as a platform to lift us up. Besides that, she also applies the dissolving method to signal the ending by invoking humor to bring her speech to an emotional closing. The speaker exhibits the image of a grumpy cat edited on Disney princesses one last time to create a humorous dissolve ending. Lastly is the method used to prepare the audience for the ending. In the talk, we found out that as her way to reinforce the central idea to the audience is by making a dramatic statement. To give the audience more impact, the speaker utilizes her voice and also her facial expression. For example, the speaker says, I want my experiences to be full of inspiration, laughs, motivation, and a whole lot of grumpy cat in Disney movies. The audience laughed because the closing line brought the speech to a funny yet dramatic conclusion. That is all from us. Thank you.